You know, like, did you ever see that old movie Tootsie with Dustin Hoffman? It's such a cool film, right? Comes in and sings, right?
Time, I've been passing time, watching trains go by.
And it goes to the chorus,
Something's telling me it might be you.
Right? It's a really nice tune, but in between is all this nice... And if he's singing it, the song, he was probably just strumming it. This was Stephen Bishop doing that tune. But when I went to play it, since it was one of the ones I wanted to do in my solo shows at those restaurants and places I was playing, I'd give my voice a rest, play the melody in the intro and do the little interlude-y thing, and go back to it anytime it showed up in the song so that I could, you know, just do something else. And yet, if I was just playing what was on the record, it would have just been strumming. You just learn how to arrange it. It's like, how can I sort of allude to the fact that the bass is changing or the chords are changing and play that melody at the same time. So you might want to do like a little chord arrangement of it. I'd have to see it. Maybe if we were taking lessons or something, I'd be able to come up with something. I hate being vague. I like to see the exact question you've got and then try to help you get to the answer. Come by on an office hour or something. Anything else? Anybody have a thought?
I just had a question about your private lessons. Are they more guitar playing oriented or songwriting lessons? Kind of?
Well, you know, they've opened up guitar labs and private lessons now to non-guitar principal majors. So if you don't have to take a proficiency, we can do anything. You know? If you do have to take proficiency, well, then we still have to get that work done, but we can get into anything you want besides that too. Yeah, you know, Will studies with me now, and we go off into all of this all the time. Is there any story that I haven't said yet that you haven't heard?
That's most of them.
That's most of them. Yeah.
It's the same old stuff every year.
But it's actually, you know, the more of you that I get a chance to meet and work with, the more good things we share and come up with. I mean, I would have never expected that I'd learn about, you know, the brain and more things about the grooves in the brain. And I wouldn't have expected that, you know, Jesse would have, the other guy that was here a little while ago, would come up with these tunings that I'd find inspiring. He'd come in with a tuning and say, someone show me this tuning and I can't find anything. You go home and write something with it. And I go, okay. And I come back with something or a couple of different tunes over the course of a few weeks, and he's going, how did you find that? You know, like, but you just have to stick with it long enough. And you've got to build, like I said, that confidence of, you know, eventually a good tune shows up. It's fun. It's repetition. It's habit. It's confidence. You know, eventually you come up with this sort of confidence. What's your stuff like now? What kind of things would you want to focus on in lessons?
Oh, I don't know. I'm all over the place now, but I always thought it'd be kind of cool to... I mean, like right now I'm just mostly working on like technical guitar stuff, you know? But
yeah.
It would be nice to get back to the whole nature of songwriting. Because I'm not doing it that much now, you know?
Right. Well, yeah, you could even talk to Will. It's not like I say, use this progression and here's this assignment. Yeah. He's very self-motivated, so he'll come in with something, or maybe he'll try a tuning or whatever, but we're basically sort of talking about the shape and the scope and the breadth of something and the motivation behind it. I'm not saying, use this chord voicing or use this key or why didn't you do that? Maybe because those problems haven't come up yet. Obviously, if somebody was singing something that was way too high, I'd say, let's lower the key. That brings up another thing. I'm not adverse to alternate tunings, as you've seen, and capos. You know, a lot of guitar teachers here don't understand the use of capos, but that song, Dreams I'm Living For, with the little slide thing, that's in the key of D flat or C sharp. You're not going to get open strings in those keys. You know, that's a cool reason to use a capo right there, is that you get all these interesting voicings, if you're in another tuning especially, and you get to have open strings in any key you want. And everybody's bored of guitar players writing everything in the key of E or A anyway, so let us use the capo, shut up. You know? They just don't get it, you know. Like, even though I was a performance major, I would rather write 12 new songs than play a standard in 12 keys. That just doesn't give me the goosebumps, you know. Just find ways to participate in it. This guy's been very quiet. What kind of stuff do you write?
A lot of instrumental stuff.
Nice.
Alternate tuning, acoustic stuff.
Really? And you like where your playing's at?
No, that's why I'm at school.
Oh, no. But you probably have some good instrumental writer, guitar players that inspire you.
Yeah, like Berklee College.
Yeah. I like Michael Hedges, too. I like some of the ones, too. There's a guy I just heard of called Doyle Dykes. Never heard of him. And he does really cool stuff and beautiful chord solo type arrangements, but he also writes melody. Like sometimes there's a wonderful, you know, all kind of harmonic thing going on and stuff, and it's just rhythm. It's cool, but it's rhythm. This guy actually writes compositions and does cool stuff. And Guy Van Duzer is really cool. He did an arrangement of the Stars and Stripes Forever where you sound like an entire orchestra playing one guitar arrangement. You could look up things like that, find these people on YouTube and stuff. It's amazing what this guitar can do. I mean, there's like no excuse now to be a guitar player with less skills when there's the internet and there's a million books now and there's so many great teachers around. It's like you can always grow at all those things if you just know where to go. And you know, you don't want lessons that are going to bore you. You certainly want a teacher that you can communicate with and find somebody that you can ask questions of and relate to, or at least like their stuff. It's kind of hard sometimes for them to tell you, this is how you should write a song when you don't like their stuff, you know. But the easiest, and like I was saying in the beginning, the quickest way to that gratification and watching your playing grow is to just play like some of your favorite players. Learn their songs. And don't just scratch the surface of their songs. Like if you're going to learn a James Taylor tune or a Fleetwood Mac tune or, you know, John Scofield tune or, you know, whoever the guitar player is, as you're learning it, you're scratching the surface and you're getting better and better. But get it to the point where you know it so well that you could play it with your own band or you could perform it with that artist that night. You could be that artist that night if you had a sub for them. Because if you know something that well, then it's really in your muscle memory. And then that's like eating a good meal. It's really going to influence your playing. It's really going to be noticeable that you spent time doing that because your hands are going to feel different. They're going to feel new. They're going to feel like when you go to sit down and find something, that something new and different comes out of it. And I've always had various roommates over the years when I was a student here especially. They'd always know what I was working on. Oh, you were playing with Steely Dan stuff again, weren't you? Or you were working on that Lee Ritenour piece, and oh, you did that thing with Michael Hedges, and oh, you've been listening to Windham Hill again. And, you know, they always saw where I had been feeding and then what it manifested into. And they could see where the roots of it were. Of course, you know, your audience won't, you know, in a sense, but it's nice to be inspired from all those different places. And if you could just point to some guitar players and say, I don't know how to finger pick like that. I saw them on a video, they were doing picking fingers. That's a really cool thing. I want to do that. I've never written anything in that tuning. I want to do that. I've never written a song in 7/4. I want to do that. All those little things are just great jumping off places to go and things to feed your playing. Yay. Good. Well, you know, I have some business cards. I've got a book list. Feel free to email me. My name is Lauren Passarelli. I'm in the guitar department. I've been here 22 years. I'm glad you're here. You know, come find me and we'll talk some more about it. Thank you.